Pakistan as a country has seen all sorts of crises. It has seen wars, its people have faced terrorism, corruption, governance. But a lot of people will agree that the crisis facing the country today is anything anybody has ever seen. The country's economy is in a free fall, political polarization runs deep, the Chief Justice and the Parliament appear to be heading for a head-on collision. People who watch Pakistan from abroad, from a distance, wonder why does it all matter at a time when global order, global economy is also facing all sorts of challenges. It matters because this is a country of 224 million. It's a nuclear weapon state, and what happens in Pakistan can have far-reaching impact. To talk about the way forward and whether Pakistan can come out of this current crisis, we have with us today the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shahid Khaqan Abbasi. You have a long career in Pakistani politics. You have been an energy minister, parliamentarian for over 3 decades. You've seen things from the inside. What every Pakistani within the country and outside is wondering is, can we come out of this? And if yes, what needs to happen?
The crisis you just mentioned it's a very deep crisis. The visible face is the economic crisis. But there's a whole background to it. It's a failure, it's a constitutional failure, it's a failure of the institutions, it's a failure of the political system, it's a failure of the judicial system, it's a failure on part of the military establishment. So we can discuss the failures at length, but the reality is that it boils down to a failure of leadership in the country. And that's what we need to address.
Where do we start?
That's a good question. That's what every Pakistani asks today. Where do we start? I think we need to start with the leadership, because everything will flow from there. There are 3 important players in the game today. First are the political leadership, which is 3 major leaders and a few minor party leaderships. Then you have the Chief of the Army Staff. Then you have the Chief Justice. I believe that the only way forward today is for sanity to prevail. We need to put the country first and our own petty advantages or benefits later. The country has to come first. Where we stand today is a deepening economic crisis. It is fed by fiscal deficits and current account deficits. The solutions have inhibited growth in the country. Inflation is high. We are in an IMF program. We have very strict measures on what we can spend and where we can spend. There are restrictions on borrowing. So it's a situation where there's very few options available.
You've been in position of power, and you know that our civil military elite for the long time believed that because Pakistan is a nuclear weapon state, the world would not allow it to fail. And we depended on countries like the United States and China and Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates to bail us out every now and then. There's a growing feeling now that our geostrategic importance is not what it used to be, and these countries are also fed up with bailing us out again and again.
Well, if this situation or this perception existed, it's a great fallacy. You don't exist on your menace to somebody. You exist on what your contribution at a global level is. Are you a large economy? Are you a large market? Are you a stable country? Are you a place where investors look to invest? Have we achieved that? That's where the failure is. So today, if we interact with the world, it cannot be on the basis of whether we are a nuclear power or not. Yes, we have achieved nuclear deterrence. That was our security need. We have achieved that. but it cannot be viewed as a menace to the world. So we need to recognize that the security situation that we have in the country does not have nuclear solutions either. It's a deterrence, that's all it is.
Yeah.
But if you are a weak economy, then even your capacity to be a state which has a nuclear deterrence will come under stress. So I think Pakistan needs to recognize its own situation in the world, how the world views it, and what the world expects from Pakistan and what does Pakistan expect from the world. I think that's something that we need to address and we need to articulate very clearly.
So I think most people will agree with your diagnostics. The question is, and again, I go back to the fact that every time you travel outside Pakistan and you meet overseas Pakistanis, they are deeply worried at what is happening to their country. They are looking at it from a distance. And yes, many of them are supporters of Imran Khan, but many are not. And they are looking at a country which is going down the drain right in front of their eyes within their lifetime. And they are asking, what needs to happen? Who has to make a realization? Is it an institution? Is it a political leadership? How are we going to deal with it? I mean, we can talk endlessly about our problems, but what is the way forward? Given your experience, you've been there. What would you advise?
No, I'm really, when situation is not rational, it's difficult to provide solutions or talk of a way forward. And that's where we are today. It's become a very irrational situation.
Now, for a long time, your party has actually asked for the army to stay away from politics. But now we are in a situation where some people believe that because of the power and influence the institution enjoys, maybe they can bring everybody together. Is that what?
No, it's not a maybe. There's no bar on people sitting down together, the institutional heads sitting down together and trying to work out a solution for the country. In fact, it's a responsibility. When you have an extraordinary situation, look for extraordinary solutions. There is no other solution. In most democracies, even in Pakistan, the elections did always provide a solution. Unfortunately, while the elections have to be held, it's a constitutional requirement, they need to be held, the elections will not give you a solution. So in a situation where even the elections fail, I think we need to preempt that situation. We need to sit down and chart out a way forward. And as I said, the need of the hour is to place the interests of the country before our own petty political or whatever other interests there are.
So in the past, we've seen when there has been a deadlock, outside powers have played a role. For example, the US and the United Kingdom played a role during Musharraf and Benazir's time. Is that something that we should think about? Maybe a friendly country, everybody feels close to and they respect. I mean, look at how China is mediating between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Now, these are internal matters of Pakistan. We're not talking about mediation between two countries. But could that be a way forward?
I really don't think so. Our friends definitely have serious concerns about what is happening. They will play their role. But these are roles which are perhaps behind the scenes. They use their influence with the different institutions or the people, the leaders here. But those are just to nudge them into a direction, into finding solutions. The solutions, as I said, have to come from within. If the leadership of this country does not have a realization of the extent of the problem that we face today, then how will they find a solution? If you do not even recognize the extent of the problem, how will you find solutions? So it's really a leadership crisis today. And if the leadership does not address it, if they're not able to sit down and address these problems, you can have elections today, you can have one party win every seat in the country. Will they be able to handle the issues? I don't think so. Because the system does not have the capacity to address the solutions. So if you're not able to chart a way forward, you'll only have two solutions. You can have a martial law in the country again, which has always been detrimental for the country.
Is that a possibility where we are today?
A system fails when there is no interaction between the institutions, when there's conflict between them, then martial law always remains a possibility. And Pakistan has had long periods of martial law in very similar situations. In fact, I would say that there's never been an economic situation or a political situation as severe as the one today. In much less severe circumstances, the military has taken over.
So you feel circumstances are ripe for a military intervention?
Well, I don't want to say that. I leave that for you to judge. But yes, in the past, in less severe circumstances, the military has taken over. The other choice is anarchy. When you have fractures in the society, in the politics, between the institutions so deep, you can end up with anarchy on the streets. And
I mean, those
again,
are not the only two options.
no, again, the solution will, perhaps the army will step in at that time also. It's happened in many countries. When the political system fails, when the constitutional systems fail, then only extra-constitutional steps happen. That's what we need to recognize. These are the three choices you have today.
Do you believe that is an option that the military is considering?
Well, I hope and I don't think they're considering that. But when they're left with no choice, then, those old famous speeches that we used to have, Mere Aziz Hum Watan no, yes. If you read the situation today, it's a complete script for a speech like that. Yeah. I hope and I wish it doesn't happen. It's always been bad for the country, but that's always hindsight. We thought that we could have done something differently.
The leadership hasn't performed. I mean, we looked at Imran Khan's 3.5 years. It was a disaster. We've seen last 1 year of this government, the situation has gone from bad to worse. And we have also seen that the current military leadership has tried to take a step back. Some would say only for things to become so bad that when they take a step forward, it would be welcome. Are we there already?
The script is written, but will that provide a solution? I don't think so. So even a military takeover today is not a solution. It may make things worse. So a political dispensation, a democratic dispensation is the only way forward. Every political party today has been in government in the last 12 months. Have they delivered? No.
So you have a strong voice. You've been the former Prime Minister of Pakistan. You have embarked on this journey where you are educating people about Pakistan's deep-rooted problems, your Reimagining Pakistan campaign. What can you do to help sense prevail besides these seminars? You have access to leadership?
It's not about one person. It has to be a collective effort. Okay.
What's
one person can be a catalyst.
One person
can be, yeah. But dialogue has to be two-way. If the other person or the other people are not willing to talk, then there's no way forward.
But your party is also not interested in dialogue at the moment, right? They were maybe a couple of months ago,
yes,
but now they're not.
Unfortunately, not. But again, the dialogue has to have a purpose.
Okay.
If the dialogue is only to gain politically by one party, then it's not a rational dialogue.
There are some noises from Imran Khan's party that they are interested in dialogue. What needs to happen so that they actually do?
I question the intent behind the dialogue. The intent has to be to find a solution, to chart a way forward. If the intent is to decide on a date for elections or to talk about what political benefits one can gain out of that situation, then it's not a proper dialogue. That's why few of us, we've been talking about this Reimagining Pakistan, the seminars, where we have provided a platform to talk about the problems of the country today and to look for solutions, to talk about solutions. The political discourse in the country has unfortunately shifted, as I said before, to blaming each other, to abusing each other. It's a very, very toxic environment.
Conspiracy theories, all sorts of allegations.
Yeah. Those are counterproductive. The parliament does not discuss national issues. The provincial assemblies are the same way. The dialogue in the media, you see 100 TV shows every day, live TV shows. Again, it's all about abusing each other. Our effort is to shake up the political leadership, to make them realize where do they stand today, and to make them realize that they are the ones who have to look for solutions. Because if they are not able to to do that today, if they're not able to sit together and chart a way forward, then neither history will judge them properly, well, or neither will the people forgive them. So they will be marginalized. Then I think you would probably have some different political forces that will emerge in the system.
I was talking to an analyst recently and he said, 50, 60 years ago, we could have made different choices and we could have become Dubai or Singapore or Korea. Where we stand today, if we do nothing and the civil military leadership, they don't get their act together, we could very easily become Lebanon.
It's a possibility. You can have anarchy. We are a country, we're the only country in the world which licenses automatic weapons for citizens. No country in the world does that. As I said, there are fractures, there are ethnic differences, there are geographical issues, there are serious political divides, the society is polarized. In this situation, descending into chaos is not that difficult.
It's a grim conversation. I would like to end this. Any hope do you see? Any silver lining? This country with so many potential, with so much to offer and so much promise, what its people deserve and what they've got.
No, promise is only a promise till it's actualized. It is definitely a difficult situation, but I think all of us in the political system, at least, we have to be optimists by nature. We always have to look at the glass half full. And Pakistan's potential is perhaps more visible to people outside Pakistan than it is to people within Pakistan. The thing that I really fear today is that the youth of the country is becoming disillusioned with the whole system. And that's really my deepest concern today. But yes, Pakistan has great potential. We can perform, we have performed in the past, but as I said today, the issue or the responsibility is of the leadership.
Shahid Khaqan Abbasi sir, thank you very much for talking to DawnNews.